Black WarGreymon? Yes, this is a Black WarGreymon build for BT5. There are a million different ways I think you could do this, but this is just one of the ways I'm experimenting with first, and I'm sure this will grow and evolve and change quite a bit. We are running 4 of the, I'm going to turn it this way, Toy Agumon from the starter deck. If your opponent does not, his inheritable, if your opponent does not attack, at the end of the turn, you draw a card. That obviously comes up every now and again, just depends on the matchup. If you're, depending, you know, if you got your blockers out, they're probably not swinging, so you can get a couple early draws in, which it tends to be pretty helpful for obvious reasons. Next, we are running 3 of the OG Toy Agumon from BT2, or I guess he was in Booster 1.0, I believe. He gives you Digimon Reboot, which gives you access to so many different things throughout the rest of the deck. A lot of the Digimon in this deck have Reboot, but for some reason, you want to play something that doesn't have Reboot, you can just give that Digimon this effect. This, for example, is really helpful for your Zwart and Zwart Defeat level 7s because you can give them Reboot, which is great. And then lastly, we're running 4 Agumon, again, from the starter deck. He's a blocker, and he's going to give you access to Nokia. These are the only Digimon Nokia can call for free because Toy Agumon are not Agumon, right? Nokia only calls Agumon, specific Digimon. It's not Agumon in their name, which prevents her from being super OP in BT6 because then you can't play Agumon Bond of Courage for free. That'd be disgusting. So yeah. We're only running, I'm not running any Sunrizamon because there's no reason to. I'm not Digi-Bursting enough that it warrants getting that back to my hand. There's no need to do that. The previous version of this deck ran Sunrizamon because the Digi-Bursting Black WarGreymon was the pride and joy of the deck. That is no longer the case. So there's really no need to run a Sunriza, to be honest with you, in this iteration of the deck. All right, let's talk about level 4s. So, you'll notice level 4 is kind of our blocker city. So we have 4 Shademon, for obvious reasons. Shademon's great, he's a blocker, but not only that, he will come out of security. So if he gets hit in security, guess what? You now have a 6k or 5k blocker on board. The other thing that sucks is you can't attack with him, but who cares? The promo Sunrizamon gives piercing and +1 security. It does, but you also have to be at, I believe, the 13k DP. What is it? 13k DP. In order for that to happen, which is possible, but the deck isn't really meant to be like Final Zubugon Punch style. That's not how I'm running it. Yes, it would be useful to have that. However, just based on what I'm doing, kind of like long term, it's not really worth it for me. You could do it, and I'm not saying it's the wrong move, but for me, it's not worth it personally. So we have the Shademon. Shademon's great. I want like 2 different ones in each color. Yeah, security blockers, man. This is awesome for obvious reasons, especially if it's like the last card in there. Next, we're running. You shouldn't be surprised about this. 4 Greymon. Why? Nokia reduces their evolution cost, and they will give any Digimon with reboot jamming. Black Galgamon does the exact same thing from BT5, so you could run 4 of these guys, and if you wanted to, you could take out the Shademon, or you could take out this other Digimon I'm about to show you, and put in Galgamon. Trying my first crack at the deck and wanted to bounce ideas. Still a really new. Got you. Yeah, Daniel, I think that it's not a bad idea. I think the issue you're going to run into, though, is that 13k DP threshold. While you'll hit it, the question becomes, do you hit it enough that it's worth it without adding in extra cards to take up more space? If that's your win condition, I think you could totally do it, but I think that at that point, it becomes what you build your deck around, and I think that would be viable. But yeah. So yeah, there's the Greymon. And next, we have 4 Dark Tyrannomon. I mean, he's a blocker with that evolves for 1 cost. That's literally why he's here. And that comes up a lot, as you can imagine. And he's cheap to evolve. If you couldn't tell, guys, being cheap to evolve is really, really helpful for this deck, especially when you see how few memory tamers we're running. Next, let's talk about level 5s. So, level 5s. we got 4 Metal Greymons. Oh, shit. 4 Metal Greymons. What they do is if your Digimon's got reboot, guess what? You're going to give it +1 security check. Oh, and the boss Black WarGreymon on this deck already has reboot and +1 check, meaning he will give the BT6 or BT5 Black WarGreymon a total of 3 checks. That is obviously good. That's why he's here. Give your reboots extra checks. Next, we're only running 3 WarGreymon. You could take him out of the deck completely if you wanted to. I have him here because he's a 2-drop, which makes him useful. And worst case scenario, if you need to hard play him because you need to go into a level 6 and then a level 7, he's a 5 cost to play. That's not bad. That's why he's here. Then our next level 5s, we're running just 2 black Mock Galgamon. Why? They're reboot Digimon. And also their inheritable is going to give a Digimon with reboot an extra 2k, which will be helpful for Black WarGreymon, allowing you to swing over things like Ancient Greymon, Ancient Garurumon, Nidhoggmon, things like that. And if you wanted to do the Sunrizamon combo, this guy would be great for that, because you could basically decide you can give up doing a lot of security checks off of this guy, and also focus on giving your level 6 that extra 2k DP, so that he'll hit Sunrizamon threshold pretty easily. If you wanted to, you could do that. Next, let's talk about level 6s. So our level 6s are a little all over the place, all right? So I hope y'all are ready for this. So we're only running 2 of this Black WarGreymon. Why? He's a 4-drop evolution. And because I wanted to experiment with some other reboot Black Digimon, to be honest. So he's got reboot and +1 security check. That's obviously really good. You're going to be checking the stack for 2 things at 12k. That's beautiful. If you got your Metal Greymon under him, it's 3 checks. If you got the Greymon under him too, he's got jamming for 3 checks and reboot. I think that explains itself. Next, we're running 2 Metal Garurumon. Why are we running 2 Metal Garurumon? Well, Nokia can reduce his cost. Also, when you play him, you Digi-Burst 2, you can delete any Digimon your opponent has of a play cost of 6 or less. And if they don't have a target, guess what? You get to trash the top of their security. Just cuz. That's great. I mean, you're just saying, screw your security. You know, even if you don't have a target, guess what? I'm just going to get rid of his security. And if I already got this guy out, you can't afford to keep letting me get rid of your shit. Obviously, this is a one-time thing. And obviously, this is just on Digivolve. But still, that can come in clutch. And, of course, he has reboot. So those same things apply. You can give him jamming. You can give him +1 check. You can give him the extra DP. That kind of thing. Next, we're running only 1 of the promo Black WarGreymon. Why am I only running 1? Honestly, it's because I wanted to put him in the deck as another way to steal games. That's literally it. And if I have one of my Nokias out, he's either going to cost me 1 or he's going to cost me 2 to evolve. That's why he's here. You could, if you wanted to, swap these guys out. If you wanted to take advantage of Nokia reducing this cost. Totally a matter of preference, I think. And then the last one is a Black WarGreymon who's got blocker and reboot. It's great. 11k blocking and reboot. I mean, that's pretty useful. I don't think there's really much that needs to be explained on that one. Then let's get into our level 7s for this deck. We have 2 Omegamon or Omnimon Zwart Defeats. A phenomenal card. You could crank this up to 4 if you wanted to. You could leave it at 2. You could put in 1. Whatever you got, you can put him in, and he's going to be useful. Why? He's a level 7 that evolves for 3. When he evolves, guess what? I'm killing one of your Tamers. Always helpful. Also, if he's in the stack, hey, he just comes out for free. And when this mug dies, he blows up one of your Digimon. One of your opponent's Digimon. I mean, yeah. And then, of course, we're running 2 Zwart Defeats. These are, I mean, I wouldn't really necessarily say there are boss monsters, but there are insurance cards. If we need them, we got them. 15k, when you attack, give me level 6 back from your stack into your hand, and you can delete anything that has the play cost of 12 or less, which is a lot of freaking Digimon. And also with him, you get to play your, or basically, it was basically a level 5. I think it's play cost of 8 or less, if I recall. Yeah, play cost of 8 or less. 2 Digimon from your trash. Of play cost of 8 or less that are black or purple. With this deck, it's basically anything level 5 or lower you get to play for free. Yes, it sucks because we're not running blockers, so you can't play, the level 5 blockers, so you can't drop an Andromon or anything. But you can set up for the next turn if you know you're going to Digivolve into a level 6. So that's also helpful. And plus, you could always bring back your lower level Digimons, and you could say, hey, let me get 2 Shademons or whatever if you need the blockers. And last but not least, guys. Oh, well, we still got more shit. Here are our Tamers. So we're running 1 Tai Kamiya. He's our only memory Tamer. That might change. There might be another iteration of the deck that runs more of him. We're running 1 Tai and Matt because your opponent's probably going to be getting out level 6s. I mean, you got a bunch of blockers. You're going to probably force them to do something like that. It'd be a little more drastic. So that will give you an extra 2 memory. Also, your Omegamons or your Omnimon and your Zort Defeat will get an extra security check. On top of that, if you've got this guy out and underneath him you have your Toy Agumon, which will give him Reboot, fun fact, and you have Greymon, he's got jamming, and if you get Metal Greymon, he's also going to have +1 check. So he's going to be checking for 3 with jamming. Not that he really needs to be scared of anything in the stack, but you see where this is going. Then we're running 2 Nokia Shiramine. She's literally here to reduce the evolution costs of both your Omnimons and your Metal Garurumon and all of your Greymon Digimon. Super helpful. And on top of that, when you play her and she comes up in security, you can play an Agumon for free. Again, it's only the blocker Agumon, but you get to play it for free and get you a blocker out on the board. That can be really, really helpful and change the whole tide of the game. Lastly, let's talk about options. We're only running 3 options. We're running 2 Blazing Storms of Metal and 1 Ultimate Flare. You could adjust this however the hell you want. I really don't think that this is the perfect way to do it, but in my testing so far, this has been quite helpful. Why? Blazing Storm of Metal lets you turn all of your Reboot Digimon into blockers. If you've got your Toy Agumon under it, guess what? Somebody like this is now a blocker. See what I'm saying? That's awesome. Your Black WarGreymon is now a blocker. So this is phenomenal. And it's gonna give your Digimon who get this boost an extra 1k on your through your opponent's turn. So again, makes it so that you can survive. If it comes up in security, it acts just like Breath of the Gods. Your opponent can no longer attack you or check any more security for the rest of the turn, and this card then comes to hand. It's great. And then lastly, one of the coolest options for black right now, Ultimate Flare. Digivolve 1 Digimon by 3, and when you do that, afterwards, everything of a play cost of 3 or less on your opponent's board dies. So you might be, you can potentially board wipe. In a game that we had earlier today, that's what we did. We were able to board wipe because of Ultimate Flare. So this card is good. You could add more than 1. I definitely think you could. I only have 1 because right now, with the way the deck is constructed, I only have space for 1. And that could be, maybe I'll take out one of my Zorts and only run 2 Zort defeats and 1 regular Omnimon Zort. I don't know yet, because also I'm thinking about putting an Alter S in here. So there are a lot of ways to build this deck, guys. A lot. So I'm curious to see what you guys think about it. For those of you guys who are going to see this on YouTube, let me know in the comment section below. For everybody else in the chat, how would you run this deck differently? And is this the type of deck that would interest you? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know how long I'll be playing this for. Because right now I'm really, really, really loving my red deck. It's my favorite deck, easily. Which I guess isn't a surprise, but I love my red deck. J Squad.